Hello, Richard here, and today I want to show you a really easy way of hand sharpening a drill bit, i.e. one of these. The method I'll show you doesn't need any power tools, you don't need a bench grinder or anything like that, or special drill grinders, none of that. All you need is some basic sort of stuff you've probably got lying around in your workshop. Lying around, I mean safely put away in a toolbox, obviously. Now we'll just take a moment to have a look at some of the things that you can use to sharpen the drill bits. Then we'll talk a little bit about how you sharpen a drill bit, what needs to be sharp, what doesn't, what shape does it need to be. And then we'll go over to the vise and I'll show you the process. Okay, so let's just talk about what we're going to be doing here. Now, what we need to do is to sharpen the drill. And to do that, we need to take some metal off, which means we need to have a tool that's hard enough to actually cut into high-speed steel, or HSS, which is typically what drill bits are made of. Now, with that, an ordinary file isn't going to be man enough. That's not going to be hard enough, and it's not going to actually take anything off. So one of the things you could do is, if you've got a file and you've got some abrasive paper, like aluminium oxide paper, is you can just wrap this over the file, and then that will basically give you like a super hard file, and you can use that to remove some metal from the drill bit. And we'll go through the process of how we do that in just a moment, but that's one of your options. This isn't so great because it can cause edges to round over a bit, but it can work. It's a pinch. Something else you can use, if you have one, is you can use a diamond file. Now, this one is actually a bit too coarse. It's quite a coarse grit, so I probably wouldn't use this, but a diamond file will work. That will cut the high-speed steel. Alternatively, you could use a whetstone. That is W-H-E-T, stone, not literally a soaking wet stone. You don't have to have these things wet. So you could use a whetstone. This is a sort of Norton style, Norton India stone. So you could use one of these, or you could use slipstone if you have one. Anything like that, anything sort of that's a really tough abrasive. But what I'm going to be using today is a diamond plate, or some people call them a diamond stone, although they're not actually made of stone. This is a coarse grade easy lap, and it's not that coarse. It's been used quite a bit, so it's actually fairly smooth. If you can hit, I'll run my finger over it. So it's not mega coarse, but it's the coarsest one I have. You don't have to use these. These can be quite expensive if you don't have one. You can use these. This is a cheap one from a set on eBay, and you can buy a set of about 4 or 5 of these for something like £12 UK off eBay, and they're not bad actually. They're pretty good. So you can use one of these. That'll be perfectly fine. Like I said, as long as whatever you use is harder than the drill bit, then you're in business. In order to sharpen a drill bit, you need to know a bit about how it works. How does it cut? Which pieces are important and which pieces aren't? And on a drill bit, there's basically 2 bits that are really sort of important to the cut. And the first one is known as the cutting lip, and that's this edge just here. So this cutting edge along here, that's called the cutting lip, and that has to be dead sharp. Now, I don't mean sort of shave hairs off your arm sharp, but it has to be an absolutely straight line and a really sharp angle. You don't want that rounded off, and you can probably see here there's a few little dings and chips. They don't matter too much. So remember, what we're looking at here is getting the drill bit sharp enough to cut. We're not looking to perfect it, so we can live with a few little dings and chips here and there if we have to. Now, that's the cutting lip. That needs to be sharp and straight. This curved surface here, that's known as the flank. And that's important because this has to actually create what's known as relief from the cutting lip. So on the front, we've got the cutting lip here, and the flank, which is this face on the top behind it, this needs to slope away. So if we bring this around here, the flank needs to slope away from the cutting lip. So this helps to give you an idea of the shape we're trying to create. Now, we'll actually sharpen a drill in a moment over on the vise, but what you need to do is sort of get the mental image of the shape you're trying to create. So what we're trying to do is to take our abrasive, we're going to start at the back of the flank, and then we're going to basically round over as we go. So we're going to match the angle of the flank, and then as we go, we're going to round over, but we're not going to go beyond flat. We want to stop just slightly back of being flat. And the reason is we don't want to round over the cutting lip. The cutting lip needs to be at that sort of an angle still with relief on it. So that's the idea. Get that in your mind, is that we're going to be going along like this and curving over as we go, following the flatness of the flank. And I'll show you a way where you can actually see how flat you are as you go in a moment. As we've been talking about this, we've been using a 12mm drill or 1/2-inch drill, just because it's a nice big drill and it's easy to see things on. Now, this technique isn't really ideal for drills this big. Really, you want to be doing this on drills more between sort of 3mm or 1/8 of an inch up to maybe 9mm or 3/8, something like that. In a moment, I'll show you it on a drill like this. This is a 1/4-inch drill. Anything bigger than sort of 9-10mm or 3/8 of an inch, and really you're going to be wanting to use a grinder. The other thing as well is this won't actually restore really badly damaged bits. We're assuming that the flutes are in good condition. And also, if you look at this one, see this drill bit here, you can see this one's got a big chip missing off the side. That's definitely a job for a grinder. You're not going to be able to do that by hand. Well, not in one lifetime anyway. So if your drill's really mullered up like that, then yeah, you're going to need to use a bench grinder anyway. But if you've got a drill that's doing more rubbing than actual cutting, then this is just a great way of getting a really quick hone on the edge without having to get the bench grinder out. Or if you don't have a bench grinder, or say you're out on site or you're outdoors and you don't have any electricity, again, this is a way of just sharpening a drill to get you up and running. Battlefield mechanics. All right, let's get over to the vise. Now I've put the drill in a vise, and I've gone with a 12mm drill because it'll just be easier for you to see it if we sharpen on that. Now what I've done, I've arranged it so that the cutting lip, if you remember the straight bit on the front there, the cutting edge, that is parallel with the jaws of the vise. So the cutting lip is on that axis. If that's the line of the jaws, then the cutting lip is on the same plane as that, and we're going to be sharpening like this. Not with a ruler, but we'll sharpen with a plate. Now what we'll do to make this easier, I'll put some Sharpie on the end of the drill so that we can see our progress more easily. Now to do the sharpening, I'm going to use my Easy Lap diamond plate, just because it's nice and solid and flat. So what I'm going to do is use it like a file. I'm going to start at the back of the drill, and then I'm going to run it along the shape of the flank, following the contour of the flank. And as I go, I'm going to round over like this. Like I said, not going beyond level. I don't want to go this way. I don't want to be filing downwards. Otherwise, I'm just going to blunt the drill again. So it's important to stop while you're still at a bit of an up angle. So what we'll do is we'll just take a little bit of a sweep along here. And we've just taken a little bit off the tip there. So I need to come down a little bit flatter on that. And at the beginning, let me just bring you in a bit closer there. So you can see here, it's just cutting at the back of the drill. And that's what we want. We want a bright spot to appear at the back, and then we'll gradually work it over as we go. Now, the reason for putting the Sharpie on there is that if we find we're only cutting on one side, then as we go, we can just angle over a little bit and we can see when we're actually level. And what we're aiming for is for this silver portion to sort of proceed right to the front until we just got a tiny black line left there. So let's give that a few more goes. All right, so now you can see we're about halfway, and that's exactly what we want. We know that because we've got black Sharpie still here, we haven't touched this yet. And if that's the last little bit to go, the last little bit to turn silver, then we should still have a relief angle, and that edge will just sharpen itself. So let's keep going. Okay, we're nearly there. There's just the last little bit of Sharpie to remove from this part. You can see we're shiny here. Got a little bit to go there. And bear in mind as well, on a small drill, this happens a lot quicker. This is a bit slow because this is a bit of a big drill to be doing this on. But we're almost there. So a few more swipes and then we should be good to go. Okay, and that's kind of it. Okay, so that's the sharpened edge. Now this drill does have a few dings on the cutting lip. Don't know how well you can see that. So this would either need a bit more work or a trip to the grinder. But then again, that's probably enough just to put a bit more of an edge on it so it'll cut through, you know. It's only got to drill a hole, it's not a reamer or anything like that. So that's probably good enough. Like I said, if you do this on smaller drills, it's a lot quicker and a lot easier as well. But anyway, there you go. That's just a way of hand sharpening a twist drill.